Hello again to all of you wonderful people that have come across this series as we reach the 88th edition of my weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom. As this week, we'll be talking on the content of some media from this week of the new releases, a trailer or two, and a variety of news stories that we have set out to learn about. So let's not waste too much time on these introductions. Let's get talking about all things media that came out from this week. So starting on our new releases for the week, the first of the 3 new releases is seeing the ideals that the land of opportunity may be a mixed appeal of what it was all cracked up to be, which I feel may be quite an expression to say given what's been happening over the last few days over there. But we have a new film set in the past that will give some sense of hope when things may seem bleak, as we have the newest film of The Brutalist. The film will tell the story of Laszlo Toth, a visionary architect who moves to America from Europe after the war to rebuild his life, his career, and his marriage. While struggling in a new location, he settles upon in Pennsylvania, where a wealthy and prominent industrialist recognized his talent. Now, reception to this new film has been hit with universal acclaim, with praise to its performances, its story, its themes, and the production of the film, with some critiques aimed at its 3.5-hour runtime, and some controversy over the use of some AI to fix some of the pronunciation of the accents and language of the characters in this film. Though it has not stopped the film from being labeled as one of the best reviewed films of 2024, and winning and being nominated for multiple awards. And if you want to check it out for yourself, then you can catch the new film out now in cinemas. Now for our second of the 3 films for this week is seeing us flying high above the sky, where things may seem like nothing could really go wrong, but there is a lot that can, as we have the newest action film and the return of directing duties from actor Mel Gibson with his new film of Flight Risk. The film sees a US Marshal boarding a small plane to transfer a government witness across the country to New York City. But as they start to fly across the Alaskan wilderness, tensions will soon start to rise, as not everyone on the flight is who they appear to truly be. Now, reception to this new film has not been the most appealing to critics. As well, the concept and performances are decent, it feels very small scale or lacking in mass appeal than it should be from the director in focus. And a bit of a letdown, but may appeal to a turn your brain off and enjoy yourself popcorn flick kind of thing. And if something like that entices you, then you can also check this new film out now in cinemas. And the last of new releases for this week is taking the concept idea of where you may feel that you are home alone, but feel like there's something that watching you that you just can't seem to put a finger on it. And this new title will be taking that concept to a whole new level, as the studio of Neon has brought a new take from Steven Soderbergh on a horror thriller with the film of Presence. The film will see the focus from the perspective of a poltergeist as we follow this entity as a new family moves into the new home it resides in, and they start to expect that they are not alone and may soon start to wonder why the presence cannot seem to leave. Reception on this new film has also been seen some very strong reception, with praise to the concept, its approach to a new take on horror, performances, and a sense of scares and tension present throughout. And if you want to observe the concept through the eyes of a lost soul, you can also catch the new film out now in cinemas. And with all of that, that's all the new releases that we have for this week. Now, the first of the trailers for this week is seeing the idea that sometimes a job can be a bit tedious, monotonous, or to some can feel that little bit boring. But this new film takes that to a whole new level while also being a bit more deadly and life-threatening, as Parasite director Bong Joon-ho is bringing a new take on an adaptation to life as we received a trailer for the new sci-fi movie of Mickey 17. The film follows the titular Mickey, played by Robert Pattinson, a man who signs up to be an expendable as he is sent on a man-made suicide mission to colonize the ice world of Niflheim, where every time one of his iterations die, a new body is regenerated with most of his memories still intact. But when one of them survives with a new one generated, things will soon get a little out of hand for Mickey and the company. So the likes of this film has been quite an interesting story of its development, and following this for the last little while, that the concept footage for this movie has appealed to me a lot. It's something that is kind of interesting and be very creative, and something I feel could be a big hit when it does release soon enough. Now, the one thing I do hope is that the studio of Warner Bros. Have not interfered with the Oscar-winning director's complete vision, as the studio is known to do this and try to do it with this film, and hopefully it will be an entertaining sci-fi adventure that is like the full director's vision. And it's also a case that's not too far away as well, as the film will be generating itself into cinemas in a little over a month's time from March 7th. As for the second trailer for this week is seeing the case that the terrors of the underworld and the fear of total death and torment were not just a present day thing and have been around for centuries. And all case is up to one man or one machine to do a job he's made for, to rip and tear. As you've received an all new trailer for the upcoming new title game of Doom: The Dark Ages. Set as a prequel to the original 2016 title of the modern series, this new game will follow the Doom Slayer as he becomes the last hope for a kingdom being tormented against the demons and forces from hell in a more medieval setting to boot. Now, I think this series has definitely seen a mass appeal and comes back after the series started strong, had a mixed appeal from the third entry and then came back and has been on a winning streak for the last few years. And this one looks to continue that with its new elements including giant mechs and using creatures for aerial combat. I for one am excited to try this one out. And thankfully with this new trailer we have finally gotten a release date as we'll be able to destroy all the demons on PS5, Series X and S and PC from May 15th. Now, this last one I'm going to keep very brief in the regards because I didn't really want to talk about it, but I kind of do more on my TikTok if you want to see this regards. But this is about a new trailer that came out this week from Universal called Drop. It's a film about a woman who goes on her first date after, I don't know, like after a few years after she became widowed with her husband passing away. She goes to date with this nice man and then she gets being tormented by being airdropped all these memes and stuff by some criminal who's threatening to kill her daughter and their son if no case she doesn't kill his date. Now, most cases it's a dumb concept, it's by Happy Death Day director, so it might be decently good. But the one issue I have with it is that it's set in Ireland, but they decided to overly use CGI and AI to make all these buildings into skyscrapers and shit, and like kind of morphing random buildings in the city. Now, I'm not going to delve too much in this regards here. The film does come out in April, and if you want to see my full analysis about the whole thing, it was like a 3-minute piece, you can check it out on my TikTok, which I'll probably link somewhere in my YouTube before, or down below. You can probably check it there. But I'm going to leave in that regards, and that's all of our trailers that we have for this week.
You remind me of the babe. Babe with the power.
So our news will start off this week's stories with it being that time of year again. As after a brief delay to the announcements due to the ongoing wildfires in LA, we were finally given the nominations to this year's Academy Awards on Thursday that has quite a few surprises, a fair amount of snubs, and hotly debated nominations for some on different films being presented. But let's not waste time on these just kind of summaries and let's delve into some of the big nominees that came out from this event. So we're starting with the most nominated, and this one, like back at the Golden Globes, has been the most hotly debated film to be nominated, and that is with the Netflix film of Emilia Perez, leading with 13 nominations, including for Best Picture and Best Performances for both Zoe Saldana and Carl Sofia Gascon, which, in fairness for that latter one, I will give some praise to as the first openly transgender actress to be nominated for an Oscar, which I praise. But the only one that people thought would also get one was for Selena Gomez, but was one of the snubs of this year, though she technically still is nominated for an Oscar for her best original song for the movie in that regards. Now, I haven't seen the film yet, but I will probably get to my thoughts on it in due time and see if I agree or disagree with the issues. And as for the other two films to round out the top 3, with both movies receiving 10 nominations apiece, one of them is this week's new release of The Brutalist and the first part of the adaptation of Wicked, where my own issues stem from the Wicked one, where sure, some bits I can at least agree with one or two performances and the production stuff, but there are some cases I'm not seeing as a big Best Picture contender or one of the Best Actors nominations is kind of, I don't know, in that regards. I may need to give it another rewatch at some point, but that just might be my own opinion in regards. I'll probably delve more into it when I get to the film's review eventually. But there is a case I want to bring up the appeal that animated films this year is in a very strong contest, and some of them escaped from being located just that locked to that one category, as the 5 nominees for that category this year are Inside Out 2, Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Foul, The Wild Robot, Flow, and Memoir of a Snail, which is a really good category, and while 2 of them have not been released yet, with one coming out after the Oscars, it's anyone's game to win that award. And as I mentioned, some animated films also got a few nominations, with Wild Robot getting 3, which also includes Best Sound and Best Score, and Flow getting nominated for Best International Feature. So I'm all happy with that, starting to see a case of a return for more animated films getting a few more nominations than just being stuck to the category. I'd love to see more of them, and hopefully we'll eventually get another one that gets a Best Picture nomination. Now, it's not all going to be appeal from everyone, as of course there was a few snubs that I've seen people discuss about online. But with one film that I've seen a fair bit of complaints of being snubbed was both of Luca Guadagnino's movies of Challengers queer, with many feeling Daniel Craig deserved the Best Actor nod for the latter one, and Zendaya for Best Actress for Challengers, and in the case of that former movie for Best Score and Cinematography, amongst others. Another one was with Dune 2, that while it did garner 5 nominations which included Best Picture, many felt Denis Villeneuve was snubbed for Best Director, and the film's score was unaccepted for Best Score due to the tracks being too similar to the first films, which I can understand, but there's a fair amount that's new, so I don't know. I don't understand that kind of case with this, so who knows. And even some saying Nosferatu deserves the Best Picture nod, which I would agree upon. I mean, it's a big success one, so who knows in that regards. But they get a few nominations. But overall, some I would agree, and some I feel could have been added. Now, if there was a way I could have added 2 films in this award show that got a little overlooked, or maybe not count for one of them, is some for Furiosa, mainly just in the kind of technical award stuff like Fury Road got, and the other is Paddington 3 for Best Visual Effects. But that one might be more for next year because it hasn't come out in the US yet till February, so I don't know. But those would be the sum I would add in overall. But a decent nominations made this year, and I will be giving my predictions for the award night before the event takes place on March 2nd this year, so some point in February, so stay tuned. I'll update down the line. But what are your thoughts on these nominations, and which ones you see deserve the win, and what was snubbed? And what would you add to each category? Let me know what you think of your choices and picks down below, and we can discuss on them further down there. Now, our next story for the week is bringing a focus to the usual array of some discussions about the content of some new casting announcements for this week, which we have 2 projects seeing some big name stars joining 2 big name projects or franchises or the rumored side for the moment, but let's get delving into talking what these projects are in particular. We'll start with a casting for a film that I have over the course of near the end of last year for the last couple of weeks have been talking on some new casting choices made. There was a new one every single week in that regards, as we have a return to the film itself again with a new casting for Christopher Nolan's upcoming adaptation on The Odyssey. Now, we've seen quite the array of cast so far from this project, with names like Matt Damon, Tom Holland as now supposedly rumored fiancée Zendaya, Lupita Nyong'o, Charlize Theron, Robert Pattinson, and Anne Hathaway so far joined the cast. I'm sure an adaptation of a literature epic, as there's bound to be more cast coming along. And that was proven just this week, as it was announced on Wednesday or Thursday that the Punisher star of Jon Bernthal has signed on to be the new Nolan picture in an undisclosed role. Now, it could be anything with a character from one of the many gods Odysseus will face in his 10-year journey home, or one of the many crew or army he has alongside him, but as of now, we have no idea. Now, I think personally it's a really good casting, and I'm sure as production starts in this film some point later this year, we will see who everyone will be playing, and I'm sure more and more characters will be making an appearance soon in the cast, but I guess we shall see over time of who else will be joined this epic. And then from one form of Odyssey to another, as this one will be taking us into the far reaches of space, as we're talking about the ever-growing saga of Star Wars. So we've been hearing a fair bit of projects being made in the realm of films for this saga for the last few years, with the only one set in stone and has actually finished filming is a new film based on Mandalorian that is out next May. But we do know on some of the other ones in the works, including ones from like Feige, possibly from Taika Waititi and all that stuff, and one of them is being helmed by Free Guy and Deadpool and Wolverine director Sean Levy. They'll be taking his style approach to the galaxy far, far away. It may not be without figure to bring the force or be without a mainline figure to bring the force or balance, as there's been a rumblings that he may have found his leading man for his project, and it comes in the form of Ken himself, of Ryan Gosling, which I could see him do well with this project, as he's shown that he can really provide a lot of entertainment and appeal and different elements of performance. I mean, Fall Guy was one of my favorite movies of last year, so I enjoy seeing him in a lot of stuff. And I'm sure he'll be bringing some charm and action to the series of Jedis and bounty hunters and the fight of good against evil, and will be an appeal. All I keep seeing in case while I'm talking about this in my head is a mix of his character from Blade Runner mixed with the character from Drive, and will be an absolute madman behind the controls of some large spacecraft. Now, at the moment, this is just a rumor, it has not been fully finalized, but if it does happen, I'll not say no to a Gosling Star Wars adventure, but I guess we'll watch this space to see what comes from this project, so stay tuned in that regards. But what are your thoughts on these casting rumors and announcements, and do you see Bernthal as a good choice for Nolan's epic, and would you watch Gosling in space? Let me know what you think of these all down below in the comments, and we can chat about them there. And the last of the stories for this week is with a mix of some announcements of some projects and the concept of some release date confirmations for 2 of those projects in particular that will be in discussion for this week's story. But let's delve into the ones we know and ones that we will learn to know more of over time. So of course, let's start with the film that is still fresh in people's mind and been making records for the type of film focus it is with, and that's with the film adaptation series of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, the third film has been out for well over a month now, with it recently I think having released on on digital in the US and still showing in cinemas, with it now being the second highest grossing domestic release for a video game adaptation, just behind The Mustachioed Plumber. And at the same week the film came out, we got the confirmation that a fourth movie in the series was coming out in 3 years time from there, in spring 2027. But now we've been given an official release date, with the film released a week after I turned the old age of 27 on March 19th. 2027. Now, I feel in that regards there's plenty of time to work on a new entry in this series, and how they introduce this new characters in the post-credit scene, which may be a rework on a previous game entry. I really have things in mind for this new title, and I'm intrigued to see how this will turn out. Now, I for one will look forward to seeing the new film when it does release in about 2 years' time, because I'm starting to grow a fond love for this series, because they've all turned out pretty good so far. But speaking of a film with some strange creatures, in the film that also released a big success around the same time as the other one, we are talking on the next project that was announced from horror, thriller, and mythology director of Robert Eggers. Now, we have seen that he has been seeing great success recently with his new film of Nosferatu, has been giving great acclaim, and even got some Oscar nominations for some of the production side of things. It all seems to be going well in that regards. But now we already have an idea of what he'll be taking a stab at next in the world of creatures, as while there was rumors of him handling a sequel to an 80s classic fantasy film, as well as some older rumors of tapping into the superhero realm with a certain Norse god, we have now been given a confirmation that his next film will be focused on being a film on a werewolf that will be set in the 13th century that he co-wrote with the other writer from The Northman. Now, this will definitely appeal to the fans of his director's 4 acclaimed films, as he is an obsessive fan of the folklore and, small details, and given the setting and focus to another creature, I'm sure there'll be another big success. And most cases probably have some sense of a sexual awakening that the likes of recent vampire film has proven in that regards, because apparently it's a very sexually horny film. From what I've heard. And we know that where we can expect it, as it's planned for release now in Christmas of next year. So 2 years from his most recent film, and I will keep an eye on this project as it comes along, and be interested to see how this will balance his monster flick and another film he is signed to be working on, which we'll be talking about next. As that film was also confirmed this week that Eggers has signed on to direct and write a sequel to the cult classic 1986 fantasy film of Labyrinth, that will be starring film remembered for the performance of a young Jennifer Connelly and the late David Bowie. It'll be interesting to see how this will go about, this film, in terms of telling the story following the death of one of its big stars of the original movie, but I'm sure there'll be a workaround, and maybe similar to the likes of a recent sequel adaptation to The Dark Crystal, so maybe they will work out in some regard. But I'm sure it'll be worth to see how this upcoming director with 4 for 4 acclaimed films will work out in this film's production, but we will see how this does come along. But with all that, I would like to know your own thoughts on these announcements. Are you excited for a 4th Sonic movie, and will you be checking out both of the new films from Robert Eggers? Let me know what you think of them all down below, and with all of that, that's all the news stories that we do have for this week.
Do that thing! Do that thing!
And now with all of that, it ends episode 88 of Weird Mind Newsroom, and I do hope you enjoy listening to my ramblings for quite another week of all things media. Now, in case you haven't seen already as well, I do have another episode out from last week which talks about all the stuff like, Wolfman and Complete Unknown, all this stuff, a few kind of award season stuff and some random shit. So you can check it out below as well in the links if you haven't seen it already, but you don't have to watch it if you don't want to. There's no worries in that regards. But anyways, let's delve into some topics that we'll be seeing coming along down the line on this channel, from me in particular. So we'll start with reviews. Now, in the case I haven't really started any writing for reviews for as of yet, I'm kind of spitballing ideas of what ones I want to do next. Like maybe near the award season, I might try and do Dune Part 1 and 2. I kind of want to do Wonka because I've kind of said I want to do it for the last little while. I'll probably do it. I might do more recent ones, like I'm going to do Sonic 3. I will get to Wicked maybe around the same time as the award season, but I'll see in that regards. Might do some short ones for like Venom 3 and Craven. I want to get to Lord of the Rings and Nosferatu and actually watch them and give their in full reviews in that regards. There's a few I have to get catching up on. I'll look through last year's stuff as well, maybe year prior, and see any stuff that I want to do like sort of quick short fire reviews on, and maybe some I want to give like a in-depth discussion on. But I'll get to them down the line, so just bear with me in that regards. There'll be a few coming, so look forward to them. Down the bases with some gameplays. I have just finished recording Last of Us Part 1, the full game now in particular. I finished recording it last night, so those episodes will be coming out over the next little while. I've probably about 5 episodes left. So you look for the next 5 or the next little while. So maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks probably see the finale. in that regards. So I'm going to probably put a list down below, maybe in this one or maybe in one of the next parts of my Last of Us playthrough. I'm going to put a list of like choices of what games I should play next for PS5. I have a few ideas, but I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, which I'll do the same for reviews maybe. Mario and Cyberpunk will also be coming as well. I'm going to maybe start them just while I'm waiting for some ideas for PS5 and try and figure out some other technical stuff in that regard. So maybe some other games. I'm also going to keep an eye out when the game of Ventilate comes out, and I'm going to start a little playthrough on that because I want to at least support someone who spent so much time and effort making a beautiful game and giving their love for supporting it. So, and also check it out as well. I'll put the link for the Steam page down below. And then some long form stuff. I have finished recording, writing up the Anticipated Media stuff. I'm going to get recording that later today. I have the case instance. I'm going to get to some long form stuff. I'm going to get back to the AI one. I'm going to get back to Rewatchathon. I'm going to get to Horror Most Bore as well. And a few other ones I am going to work on. I'm just going to kind of figure out what other long form stuff I want to make this year. Maybe I'll try and get the 2 parts of Rewatchathon for Disney this year as well. I'm going to get part 1 finished soon enough. So I promised it all the time and I keep forgetting about it. But they will be coming. So look forward to them. And I appreciate the patience. Because I seem to procrastinate a lot of this. But with all of that, I think I'm going to leave the episode there for now because I think I've rambled on for long enough and I'm starting to flub my own words. So if you enjoyed this content and want to see more from me and more frequently, then simply like and subscribe as I upload new stuff every single week when I have the content available, and I hope to gain more of an audience with you as I build this audience more and more subs and likes and comments and everything like that. Just building a welcoming community, a wholesome community when everything seems bleak and grim, and just being a safe space for many. But also in case as well, let me know your thoughts on everything that was discussed this week from the new releases, the odd trailer or two, as well as you can check out the TikTok for the third one I talked about, and the thoughts about my on the news stories in regards to down below. Let's have a discussion about it there. But I think with all that, I think I'm going to end it there for now. So as always, you all stay being wonderful people and have a great day every day, do many great things, and keep being you because no one else can do what you do. Now I've been your host Sam, and I hope to see you all in the next episode. So take care, keep being you, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.